Hey everybody, it's Amber here for Tune In Tuesday with Hope, Healing Our Past Experiences. And I just want to welcome you back again this week as we discuss the tough stuff, answer your questions, and share stories of hope. And so this month, for the month of February, we're going to do a series on healthy sex. This is part 2 of that. Last week I gave a little teaser into that. And so I talked about creating a garden just at the very end of last week and wanted to introduce the idea. So today we're really going to cover that. It's about having boundaries in the bedroom. And so, how to do that inside your marriage and having a healthy relationship and what you are allowing in your garden and how it is very intentional. Now, the idea of this garden was first introduced to me through Dr. Doug Weiss. He is a counselor out in Colorado Springs, Colorado. And he even brings in the fact that when the first garden was created, it was created for three. It was created for God, Adam, and Eve. And so, whether you're a believer in Jesus Christ or believe that there even is a God, necessarily won't have an impact in here. But if you are a believer, having that idea in mind that this is a place, it's a sanctuary, right? And so as you begin putting healthy boundaries in place and figuring out what you are allowing in your garden, recognizing that as well. And so the other part I want to bring in is I live in the country, so we've planted a garden before, and I know that when we were unable to attend to it, weeds took it over. And so what would weeds look like in your bedroom? It's things that you don't want there. It's life suckers. It's things that are going to distract you from the healthy boundaries that you have put in place. And so when they want to pop up and they want to creep in, call it out at that time, right? So it's going to be easier to rip it up when it's a small weed before it gets deep roots, if you're following the analogy that I'm giving you. And so I'm going to back up here a little bit. I'm going to give you a little bit more of the full picture. So I created this for y'all. And I wanted to, I will email it out to you if you want. It's at amber@2tryhope.com. That's amber@2tryhope.com, all under, all lowercase, okay? You can find me at the website, which is always on these videos as well. So when we're creating a garden, what you allow in your garden is going to be very intentional. You no longer have to worry about being caught off guard, and this activity will help you set healthy boundaries and open up opportunities to create new memories with the one you love, right? And so there's 3 categories that we're going to be looking at: acceptable acts, acceptable positions, and acceptable places. And as you notice, like there's 2 columns, 1 and 2, right? And all things these. It's because you're going to vote. And you're thinking, what in the world? I promise you, like my husband, the first time I did this, he wanted to be like, oh, whatever you got, that's good for me. And I was like, if you want to participate and you want to have the fun, then you are also going to be creative in these things as well. So what does, positions are pretty self-explanatory. Places are pretty self-explanatory. Where are you going to be comfortable in doing this? Positions, same thing, right? Acts is something that I get more questions about. So I want to use a safe analogy when I talk about acts and also how you vote. So the act could be wearing lingerie, right? And so maybe you put that down, and when you vote W. And some of you are thinking, what in the world is a W, right? So W is when I want to give it as a gift. When I want to give it as a gift, okay? So what that means is maybe it's not something you enjoy doing all the time. Maybe it's something that you only want to do when you feel like you're in control. And I chose this to be a safe example if you're following me, because anybody who has had any kind of trauma, right, there's going to be things that you just aren't really comfortable doing. On those things that you are not comfortable doing, vote no, right? Like if it's a no, it's a no. And if there's a no on there, honor that, whether that's from your side, his side, whatever. The idea is to find common ground. So maybe you're going to discuss things that you've never discussed and be like, oh my gosh, like we have options to be able to be creative. I think of it kind of like a clue. Like, ooh, I could do this here with this, whatever. Another act would be like we had to create an atmosphere. So for me, I needed lights on because a lot of my trauma happened in the dark. And then other than that, like you can figure out what are those acts. And you're like, oh, so the things that don't really fit in the positions and the places, put it under the act. It's an action word, right? You're going to be doing something in preparation for that or different things like that, okay? So you both get one of these sheets, right? You fill them out not in front of each other, all right? You put everything on here that you are completely okay with and everything on here that you're not okay with. Here's the reason why. When you exchange it, right, the other person doesn't know everything that you are okay with and that you're not okay with. So they're going to vote. They're going to vote yes for everything that they're good for. Like it's a go, right? No hesitation at all. You're going to vote no when there's things that you know maybe in the past you've been triggered with and that you just don't want to be done. You don't like that at all, right? That's a no. Anytime there's a no vote, it takes it off completely. It's not an option. Now, the W is when I want to. And it's really like you wanting to give it as a gift. So let's go back to lingerie. So like maybe he really appreciates it and enjoys it, but you don't like to for, I don't know, a variety of reasons, right? We could be silly about that, but we're not going to be like, maybe you just don't like the cost of that and you think it's just silly to spend money on it, right? But like I said, I'm picking the lingerie as a safe example, all right? But it's not going to hurt you to wear that. So as a gift, you're willing to do that every so often, but you're going to not announce that, right? It's going to be something that he's not going to ask for and you're going to be willing to give. If you're following me with that safe example, all right? So you only vote W on those things that like you're okay with doing. And I know there's some things like when I feel in control, then I'm okay with doing things. There's other things that if it was done and I feel really vulnerable that I'm more apt to be triggered. So we stayed away from those, okay? And so I really hope that as you create a garden and put healthy boundaries in your bedroom, that you are just blessed by this and that it opens up lines of communication that you necessarily haven't had in your relationship, and you be able to love each other more openly, right? And we're going to discuss this. So I'll see y'all again next week.